Good morning, beautiful people of planet Earth and all other interdimensional entities of love, light, truth, honour, righteousness, kindness, peace, truest, greatest loves, solidarity, community that are honouring and respectful. Wherever you find yourself on planet Earth, here amongst all sentient beings, I greet you from my sacred space at Titania's realm, and blessed and protected by the Holy One and all manifestations of goodness and peace and sweetness, prosperity, healing, creativity. I just saw a beautiful kookaburra, one of my kookaburra friends, fly into the garden. Hello, kookaburra. Good morning to you. Anyway, the time is currently 1:20 a.m. on the 13th of January 2026. It's Tuesday, which reminds me I need to cut back more of the dragon fruit, put it in my garden bin and put it out because it gets collected tomorrow. But it's forecast to rain, so I should be doing that now instead of reading stories to you while the sun is shining. So it is what it is. I have chosen to spend this moment in time to read to you, so we'll go with that. Gardening can happen later, and if I miss bin day, I'll get it in the next fortnight, I guess. It's annoying that it's only fortnightly because you need it to be more often, but I'm still grateful that the Brisbane City Council has even implemented that because it's actually a big help. Of course, they use all the things from our garden bins for their own mulch around all our beautiful trees around Brisbane. So, it's one hand washes the other, as my mother used to like to say. Right, as you can see, we're not that far from the end of this wonderful story. About 2/3 of the way through. So let us continue reading. Chapter 3. It's too high and I feel uncomfortable. Let's try and move myself around a bit. Might sit this on the drawer. Right. Let us continue reading. It's not right. I feel like I'm... It's hard to get comfortable sometimes, people of Earth. I don't like that either, sitting there on the drawer. Well, how am I going to do this? Well, hopefully we'll get through an entire rendition of Boadicea dreaming the serpent spear without the Tanya channeling random spirits or angels like we did yesterday, which was a bit awkward, but I just have to go with the flow because I built a relationship through many near-death experiences since early childhood with the spirit world, and I can't very well tell them to not speak to me when they feel it's important to butt in, although it is actually a kind of a boundary violation. What's supposed to happen when you do mediumship or channeling or communicating with spirits from other dimensions is you're supposed to have protection prayers and then deep breathing and clear your mind and open up to them and invite them into your protective circle, which in my case is the entirety of sacred space, and then you communicate with them. But yesterday that entity said that it was important, so I decided to place a measure of trust in that, which is kind of, dodgy at times to place trust in any entity, including human ones. But the messages were not harmful and actually quite encouraging and life affirming. So no harm, no foul. I'll just let you know, my beautiful audience, I've already said a protection prayer, Psalm 91, before beginning reading this chapter, because I'm cognizant that my spirits jump in from time to time, and sometimes I'm not always consciously aware, and that is a bit of a concern in a sense, but it also tells me that my suspicions that I've been under full-blown psychic attack by people who were envious and spiteful and primitive were not paranoia. Otherwise my angels or ancestors that love me would not be jumping in to remind me of who I am and why I'm actually here. So I'll have to go with that, because one does simply not disrespect the protection and support and inspiration, especially when my muses demand I make things, One does not disrespect the gods in any way, form or manner, and if one does disrespect them, it comes at great personal cost. Spiritually, emotionally, mentally, physically, financially, professionally, and since they have shown themselves to be very present with me in recent weeks, it tells me that the Mama T, aka the Tanya, aka Miss 5, aka Psychedelic Dreamer, should sit up and take notice. And I don't take these things lightly when I'm being surrounded by powerful energies and entities offering their protection. So and I'm not quite sure why they feel the need to offer so much protection. I haven't had any overt threats per se, just kind of invidious hints. But yes, a line has been drawn in the sand, and anything and anyone that deigns to cross that line with me, I can't say what the consequences will be, since it will not come from me personally, but from angelic forces. And I call them angelic because when you pray to God and you pray to the angels and protection does indeed arrive or arise in your spirit, then it is indeed, for want of a better word, angelic. And harm ye none. Do what thou willest, as the Wiccan Reed says. So those who wished harm to me for no good reason, but that they were threatened by the merest prospect that I might actually have a happy, fulfilled, safe, loving life, and those that try to crush that or destroy that out of viciousness or spite, I actually pity you. I really do. It's a question of soul, people of Earth, and it's watch the space. It's only really just heating up now. Planet hellscape and all the entities that writhe and wriggle and worm tongue and slander and fester and rot But having said that, at 60 and a half years of age, I'm doing my own festering and rotting. My nose is a bit of a mess from the new mask. Doesn't like when I get new masks because all the chemicals gassing off it, I suppose. I'm highly sensitive, little fragile little flower. It's why the angels and the gods protect me so much, and I'm grateful for that. But anyway, my skin cancers were so painful during the night I had to get up to pee and lather on some castor oil. So my hair's wet because I had to have a shower. My hair's getting very oily again. I don't know why. It's usually a sign of some infection or inflammation in my body when my hair's chronically oily. And my skin cancers were still sore when I got up this morning, so I've slathered on some more castor oil, but that's not actually going to remove the cancers, people of Earth. I actually will have to go to a hospital and get them cut out. I'm assuming that they'll have someone that has a skin doctor on duty or can refer me to someone who will bulk bill, because my other doctor was an excellent surgeon but wanted to charge a lot of money now, and I'm not in that position, so it leaves me untreated for things that constantly flare up every 6 months or so. When was the last time I saw a skin doctor? I saw a doctor with my skin. I think it was March last year, so it's almost 12 months. Anyway, I'll see how we go with lathering castor oil. Sometimes it just, I don't know, sloughs the top layer of skin off and settles it down for a little while. And others it needs to be carved out of me like a pound of flesh in Shakespearean epic proportions. But that might be the other reason why my spirits are coming to protect and defend and pay me honour, because they know that I have medical issues going on that could become, if left unattended to, unattenuated, it could actually become life-threatening. But what did I say yesterday in my video? That if I were to die, it's not so bad. Kind of tired of all the evil and rut. But where will I go when I leave this physical mortal existence? They'll probably vomit me back here again against my will and do the same roundabout again. So dark thoughts, but real. I've lived this way all my life. I like to keep it real. I could pretend that everything's hunky-dory and that I have beautiful people in my life who support me and that life is beautiful, and I actually enjoyed that delusion for 2 years. But now that I'm real again and awake and very well aware of the bit players and the flying monkeys and the enablers, wow, let me just say I'm okay with whatever the gods cast upon us, because some of it is timely and some of it is too little too late. The paradox of life. Right, chapter 33. A grain rode down from the west and north, a careful day behind the marching legions. I feel someone walk in just as I started that sentence. Isn't that bizarre? We won't be paying too much attention, people of Earth. They're allowed to listen to the stories and enjoy the energy of my voice and the telling of Amanda Scott's beautiful writing. Not only are they allowed, they can blip in and out of time and space and a nanosecond anytime they feel like. It's funny, it's that sensation of, yes, we're coming to hear you too, Tanya. Sweet, isn't it? It's quite sweet. The road hugged the coast. The sea was to their left and mountains to their right. As if a god had stepped on it, the land between was crushed where the marching men had been. Heather and grass were laid flat where tents had been pitched and men had slept. Circles of black ash showed where the cooking fires had fed the 7,000. Latrines hastily dug and more hastily filled again, hummed with flies. Ugh, gross. A child could have tracked them. For most of the first day after they left Mona, Hawk was sulkily redundant. Then he discovered what it was to ride with a blind man who could see into the worlds beyond. And he grew buoyant again and rode alongside Bellos with his eyes shut, trying to learn what could be seen without sight. As had become habit amongst them, Dubornos rode a spear's cast ahead, and Gunovar behind to guard their tail, which left Granny to ride with Ephnus of the northern Esseni, about whom she knew very little except that he was the named successor to Luan MacCalma as elder of Mona, and had been a friend to her mother since childhood, and had cared for Valerius when he was still Ban. What he thought of him now was unknown. She did not have the nerve to ask. "What do you feel for Hawk?" He asked it on the second day, peacefully, in the same tone as he had asked if she had seen the falcon stoop on the pigeon or the 3 herons standing in the river. The sea was behind them and the flat, boggy land that lay east of the mountains. They were riding through the broad, fertile floodplain of 2 rivers, crossing bridges made by Rome. The horses walked gingerly, hearing hollowness beneath them and the rush of summer water. Igraine looked round to the road behind. Hawk was no longer playing games with Bellos. This last day, he had become a tracker again, or a hunter, leaving his horse in Dubornos's care and running ahead or to the sides on foot. As she thought, he was gone when she first looked, then found him off to the right. That little bit of hair lick is driving me mad. Just try and pull it back. My hair's doing weird things lately too. It's flying everywhere, or oily, or slicking, or slumping. It's bleh. I've tried swapping shampoos the last few washes and it's not really doing much. So again, it's spiritual when it gets like this. When it's good, it's very, very good. When it's That is dreadful, people of Earth. Anyway, I should be grateful that I have hair. If the cancer progresses much worse, I won't have hair. I won't be here. So, got to be grateful, don't we, for small things and great things. Whatever comes, comes. Whatever goes, goes. And whatever stands in the portal between life and death, holding up all four directions, is also beneficial. To whom? To whoever dares to stand in the portal between life and death and hold their line and stays courageous and lives and loves and flourishes, people of Earth. Granny looked round to the road ahead. Hawk was no longer playing games with Bellos. This last day he had become a tracker again, or a hunter, leaving his horse in Dubornos's care and running ahead or to the sides on foot. She thought he was gone when she first looked, then found him off to the right, jugging through scrub hawthorn and blackthorn on the far side of the valley. He saw her looking and waved. She waved back. To Ephnus, she said, "He cares for me." Macalma would have pushed for more. Ephnus nodded a little and looked into her and through her and past her to the distant ridge and the small hill that rose near it, and said, "Your father fought there once, in the spring before you were born. Already they call it Caer Caradoc. There are 3 others with the same name within 2 days' ride of here." She was finding in Ephnus a very different man from Luan Macalma, who had sired Valerius in Hibernia, and come to see him on the heels of a storm in the lands of the Iceni, and watched over him, it seemed likely, ever since. Ephnus, to the best of her knowledge, had sired no one, and did not seem overly inclined to start. He had shared a bed with one of the younger warriors, and when she travelled east with Brant to fight Rome on Iceni soil, he had grieved openly and fully for the day of her departing, and then had thrown himself back into the evacuation to Hibernia. When next Granny saw him, he was himself again, open and clear, where Macalma was opaque and unreachable. There were disadvantages to his transparency, she was finding. In many ways, it had been easier to ignore Macalma's oblique probing. They rode on for a while, leaving the small hill and the ridges behind them, following the Roman road into broad wooded land that rose and fell gently and put no strain on the horses. Hawk took himself further off, so she could not see him. There was an urgency to his moving now, and an attentiveness she had never seen before. Because Ephnas's question so clearly was not fully answered, she said, "I feel safe in his company as I do in yours." What a wonderful feeling that is, to feel safe and welcomed in someone's company. He stopped watching a pair of magpies that squabbled over something discarded by the legions and turned his attention back to her. "I was not part of what happened to injure you. Hawk was a scout in Roman pay. He helped them to do what they did. My mother killed his father. She wanted that to be enough. It was not. She said, he went for help. He brought Valerius and then Corvus, who was able to stop the Procurator and send the veterans away. Without him, we would have died." "Yes, Mr. Crow, I've got seeds out there. I know it's not chicken, but if you want some seeds or cracked corn, it's out there for you, my boy." Turkey asked this morning. He came up on the little window here beside I sit here reading at my jeweler's bench, and he just peered at me from the corner of the window like this. That's all he had to do. Not a word was spoken, not a flutter, not a fluffing about, just a quiet little peer. I said, "Okay, you're hungry." I went out and got his food. He followed me to the laundry and just looked, He's a lovely bird. And when I gave him the food, he said thank you. Not in words, but in happiness. So, yes, everything's lovely here at Sacred Space. Everything truly is very beautiful, as the Spirit reminded me yesterday. Tutto bellissimo. She had not seen that, but everyone except Hawk and Kunama had told her of it, and of how Hawk came by the cut on his lip that had disfigured his face and still left a coloured bruise over 3 months on. She said, "He has apologised so often his throat is worn out. I can't hate him for it." Just bear with me. I'm a bit peckish. I'm going to go and get my lovely baba ganoush dip I made yesterday and some crackers, and I'll be back. Multitasking is a thing, and psychedelic dreamers world. You probably guessed that by now. Right, handsome boys, what are we doing? What are we doing? I brought some water too. Do you want to see it? I had some last night on my, yesterday afternoon on my pita bread and falafels. Right, handsome boys, are you going to come out and play? Charlie used to come out and play. Charlie used to climb all over me while I read stories. I miss her. I miss my Charlie. I miss all my beautiful beloved ones that are all in the spirit world now. Dear, dear goddess. Right, just going to eat out of the packet because I don't care, people go. Let us carry on. I'm so uncomfortable today. I don't know why. It's probably the skin cancer's burning and scratching at me. Fucking nasty. What can I say? My uncle, my biological uncle in Germany died of advanced skin cancer, but I mean, for fuck's sake, he was 97 or some great age. I very much doubt I'll make old bones like that, but then I never expected to make it to 60, so it came as a bit of a surprise. It's a bit bitter to this batch I've made. I don't know why it's so bitter. It's probably the tahini. Probably should have added more lemon juice. Right, anyway, where were we? He's apologised so often, his throat is worn out. I can't hate him for it. Do you care enough to grieve if he were to die in battle? Hawk won't die. She said it too fast, without thinking. And was surprised by the power of it. You know what? It's actually quite delicious. It's actually quite delicious. I don't know why I'm craving baba ganoush. I bought a big thing of hummus as well. I'm craving Israeli Middle Eastern type foods, which is unusual that I'm craving them. Hawk won't die. She said it too fast without thinking and was surprised at the power of it. She would not have said the same about her mother, or Kunamar, or Sigfa, or any of the others whose names and easy mortality tumbled through her mind. She would not have said the same about herself. Ephnus pursed his lips, and she saw a shading of grief in his eyes that Makama would have hidden, and he could not. He said, "I'm sorry, I should not have pushed you to that," and was silent. Sometime later, after they had crossed a second bridge, and the river had wound west again, and they had climbed a ridge and meandered down the other side, he said, "We are coming into the lands of the Cornovi, who worship the horned god. They live a different life from ours, but still honour Mona, and I believe they honour the Boadicea as strongly as anyone. Certainly they will know you are her daughter and respect you for it, but they are sworn enemies of the Koratani, and will know Hawk as one of them. If you would see him live, you should make clear to them your care for him." Interesting. She had not thought to ask why Hawk had left his horse and taken to scouting again. Now it seemed a fatal oversight. She made herself sit straight and not look aside to where she thought he might be. Her head spun. Why are we here? Why not go a different way? Luann McCarmer was clear. If we miss the battle that is coming, we are all as good as dead. The only way to be sure we can be in the right place at the right time is to keep close on the heels of Rome. Hawk knows that. But did he know the road came through the lands of the Cornovi? Cornovi, 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 cornucopia, corn, and I'm joking about the copulation. But I'm sure if the Cornovi kept copulating, there'd be even more Cornovi. Probably no longer called that. Probably under some different name. I wonder where they lived and what part of Britannia. Shall we look at the map? Sorry for showing what was in my mouth just then. Right. Let's look at the map. Cornovi. If you want to know something, refer to the fricky map, Tanya Aarons. Ah, here they are. They had that whole region there. Not far from Mona. Cyanite's a disgusting habit licking fingers, but I've always done it and I'm not going to change now, people of Earth. Too old. Zero fucks given. Right, here we are. But did he know the road came through the lands of the Cornovi? He has fought these people since his childhood, exactly as he fought the Iceni. I can't imagine he would not. Briaca met alone with Venutius of the Brigantes after dusk in a wild place near the edge of the rocky escarpment, with, and on the one hand, brown gritty rock that fell dizzyingly to scrub below, and on the other heather not quite in full purple, and crows somersaulting on the updrafts, and a pair of courting buzzard mewling in circles above. You didn't know buzzards mew when they were courting? Bastard buzzard. Well, he's not really a buzzard, is he? He's a scrub turkey. She had come fast, leaving Eärmod with the bulk of her warriors. Only Sigfa was with her. Speed lay in small numbers. Adokos was already there with Venutios. Only he could have tracked a single man who took refuge from Rome and was wary of being seen, and only Adokos was known by Venutios for himself first, and as the Boadicea's shield in all things second, so that his words were her words and carried the same power. A man wanted by the legions for the crime of treason against Katimandua, his queen, would have come for no one less. The meeting place was high and flat, with a clear view all round so that no one could come at them unexpectedly. The only thing with these crackers is they break so bloody easily. It's probably better to eat it with toasted pita. Look at them all broken. Oh. Do you know what? I'm drifting, people of Earth. I can't remember reading that last chapter. I remember reading the meeting place was high and flat, and then I drifted. Well, the more I drift, the more powerfully the spirits surround me, so. And I remember seeing that with my own mother, actually. It's a bit of a worry, to be honest. I hope I'm not developing dementia or Alzheimer's. I don't think I am. I think I'm just fucking tired, but I'll just repeat that paragraph because I can't remember if I've read the whole thing or not, because I did segue a little bit by eating crackers, and yes, I'm very, very naughty. I know, I am. I'm naughty. Some days I'm naughty. But those of you who love me anyway, and if you don't love me, you respect me, and if you don't respect me, you can go on your merry way, because I don't care. Each to their own. Live your best life. No harm, no foul. run along, go play somewhere else. Don't fuck with the Tanya. She might be drifting, but she's not stupid and well aware of what's going on. The meeting place was high and flat, with a clear view all round, so that no one could come at them unexpectedly. The two war leaders sat on dry rock beside a fire rich with heather roots and old birch, circled by standing boulders that had been carved when the gods were young. Imagine that being so old that it was carved when the gods were young. Can't even cast your mind so far back. And yet we all know that time is not linear, and we can be back in that time space in the blink of an eye if we choose to be people of Earth. Time travel is real, but it most of the time is a mental capacity rather than a physical one. Or is it? I'll tell you when I get back from AD 60. I probably would not have survived. I like my refrigerated creature comforts, the electricity, the fan running, the air conditioner, refrigerated food, hot showers. Oh God, imagine living in those times with no electricity. Romans constantly wanting to rape you because you exist. Well, some things don't change, people of Earth. Human nature, defeated as it always was and no doubt always will be. Right. That's where I broke off. Circled by standing shoulders that had been carved when the gods were young, so that the lichens were knotted into the carvings, and even the edge marks that gave the numbers of dreamers and warriors were barely clear. Better not eat much more of this. It's very fattening, people of Earth. Very, very fattening. But so good. And so healthy. We need you, Driaka said. Stone lay behind hunting hares in his sleep, so that the tremors of it shivered through her. Venutios had been warrior of Mona and had returned to his people to hold the balance against his queen. He had aged since their last meeting, more than the passing years would have warranted, and it showed most in the depth and detail of his caution. He offered no answer, but chewed on dried venison and let that fill the gap. I just want to see how long this is. Not too long. if I'm well behaved and I don't segue too much, could finish the story in half an hour. But it's not a race, it's meant to be a pleasurable, enjoyable thing, is it not? What are all those marks on my neck? Dear goddess. I wonder if it's bloody EMF radiation from the 5G fucking with my skin again. I get paranoid about that, I admit, but I do live right next door to great big towers, you know. So it is a worry. Presently, he said, I came to you here because Ardokos reminded me of the she-bear dancing as it was done by him on Mona and all that led from it. For that and all that you have been, I owe you the honour of a hearing, even if my heart did not demand it. For what Katimandua did to Karadok, and I failed to prevent, I owe you life itself. But I cannot give it now. The Brigantes are evenly split. Half follow me and will fight against Rome. Half follow Katimandua and will fall on our backs and kill us if they show any signs of joining you. If we come, we bring more trouble than help. Do you really want that? If we drive the legions into the sea or into the earth, if they are broken and will never return, if the Emperor abandons Britannia and all that is in it, what of Katimandua then? He grinned with unexpected savagery. She had never known him a bitter man. Then she is dead. We will kill her in the Roman fashion, nailed to wood and left to the skies. But even then, the blood of my Brigantes and their flesh would feed the crows for days after the battle that will lead to that. Just now, while Rome is still here and still commands power, it is impossible. We are too few, and she is too great. We would lose, and you would have 8,000 hostile spears at your backs as you try to battle Rome. If you win, when you win, enough who currently favour her will side with us, and she will be defeated. Until then, we must work quietly and win over a few warriors each day in secret by the power of our arguments, not thousands by the power of our spears. It was summer and the night was warm. Venutius wore no cloak and only a light tunic without sleeves. His arms were bare of ornament or clan marks, as they had always been. The once warrior of Mona eschewed the glitter that others enjoyed. It gave him an austerity that others lacked, and set him apart from the greater mass of his people. He leaned back on the rock. Stars pointed the moonless sky. The hunter raised his spear to the hare as brightly as he had ever done on Mona when Venutius was warrior. He studied Briaca a long while by the light of the fire, and then said, "I'm sorry. I could have told that to Ardokos and saved you a journey. You could, but I'm not sorry." "Why did you not?" "I thought..." I'm just going to pause a little bit here. This is funny. I'm reading to you and I'm concentrating on the story, but I get my muse. My muse drops in inspirations. Do you know what I've just been shown in images while I was reading to you? I've been instructed to buy 2 long pickle forks or olive spoons or forks, the antique sterling silver cutlery. I've been told to solder 2 of them together so I have double the length, and to attach a snake head on each side, a serpent head, and then to bend it and wear it as an armband up here. I used to always wear a beautiful antique from the 1920s armband that was made out of ebony and marquise. It was beautiful, but I went home with a fellow. No, actually it wasn't home. I went to a hotel with a fellow, and we won't go into details about that, obviously, but I put my beautiful armband under the bed or beside the bed on the floor, and forgot it, left it behind when I left, and it's lost, forever lost. And it was bought for me, of course, by my mother, who bought me, a lot of very beautiful jewellery, unusual jewellery at times. And it was sentimental, but it was post, the ugly, evil will dispute when I was reasonably sexually active, because I was post-traumatic grieving all that evil, foul will dispute, so I was seeking comfort and sexual congress with men, not frequently, It's never really promiscuous, but there were a few more lovers in that time period between 2012 to 2015, and quite a few more lovers. Prior to that, when Courtney dumped me in September or October 2010, he had only been my 4th sexual partner in my entire life. At that stage I was 45. So I did a little bit of catching up, let's just put that delicately. And but I'm still pissed off to this day that I lost that beautiful black ebony armband. Anyway, I've just been instructed to make one in sterling silver out of antique silver pickle forks or olive forks, soldering 2 together. I might actually do that. I'm glad I've mentioned it in this video, because when I go back and review my videos from time to time, it will remind me that I was instructed to do that, make that. They like me to have my Boadicea tribal kind of jewellery accessories. I don't know why, because I'm actually Jewish and a shaman and a witch, but they like me to dress, Celtic or sometimes Native American when I do my hair with the feathers and all the beads. They like me to just be a little bit out there, people of Earth, and look a bit tribal and quirky and unusual, and I quite like it too, so I go along with it. But yes, I might make that. It'll be expensive now to buy the antique sterling silver. They said no, not just now. They said no, not the pickle forks. They're too short. The iced teaspoons that are longer, 2 of them. So each one is about that length. So I suppose if you join them together, it's about that long. Because you need to allow for something to curl around the arm. And well, Mama T's fat, so she's got quite large, fleshy upper arms. So it has to. Maybe I'll need 3 to curl around my angel's wings, my flubber. But anyway, I can, yeah, I might just do that. But I won't be able to afford it for a while. But you never know. If the gods bless me with more money, the gods bless me with more money, and I can fulfill all my muses' manifestations they ask me to do. They probably just want me to practice, because it would involve soldering and forming the spoons, the long teaspoons, and soldering heads on. They probably just want me to practice with something. I've already made it in my mind. It's going to be beautiful. And if I make it from snakes' heads, I will have to cast them, I suppose. I'll have to make it in wax and then cast it, because it will have to be the same thickness as the iced teaspoons. If I make them thick enough, I could set little sapphires or little spinel for eyes in each snake head. So I'd need 4 little spinels. Oh, I feel excited thinking about that. That could be my next project, people of Earth. You see how my muse talks to me when I'm reading you stories? Not even thinking about making jewellery, just reading. Pops into my brain. Gratitude to whoever muse or angel gave me that thought. I might actually do that. My daughter Crystal, when I first started with the silversmithing and I was making my snake bracelets, suggested making one for the upper arm too. So and I hesitated. I can't remember why at the time, but she's got a point. I might do that. I'm going to go and put this in the fridge because I can't stop, and I've had enough actually. One moment. So good. Let me take that bowl back too. Are you fighting, little handsome boys? I heard that little squabble. brought out some more water too. It's very humid. By the gods. Why are we living like this, people of Earth? Because it's summer in Brisbane, Australia. That's why. It's not too bad though, otherwise we'd go in the living room with the air conditioning, but it's bearable. Did the page flip over while I was gone? Yes, it did. Right, we segued when we at the ornaments and clan marks that the once warrior of Mona eschewed the glitter that others enjoyed. It gave him an austerity that others lacked and set him apart from the greater mass of his people, which says they like to be adorned and be a beautiful jewellery that they created. And he was just a simple man that didn't like fripperies, people of Earth, which is perfectly acceptable too. Each to their own. We all have our own preferences in life. He leaned back on the rock. Stars pointed the moonless sky. The hunter raised a spear to the hair as brightly as he had ever done on Mona when Venutios was warrior capital W. He studied Briaca a long while by the light of the fire and then said, "I'm sorry. I could have told that to Ardokos and saved you a journey." "You could, but I'm not sorry." "And why did you not?" "I thought you would have wanted to hear it from me, and I wanted to see what you had become. We hear things at third hand or fourth, and rumours come in pairs, one part set against the other. I needed to know if it were true that the Boadicea had lost her heart after the rape of her daughters, as some said, or if, as we preferred to believe, she had instead grown with it to be greater than she ever was on Mona or in the Western Wars. They were alone. His honour guard had taken themselves off to lie in the lee of the boulders, rolled in their cloaks on beds of springing heather. Sigfa was hunting somewhere by herself. Ardokos was nearby and still awake, but no longer sharing the fire. He sat against a rock with birches on either side, not quite out of earshot. She could see the shine of his eyes and then presently the darkness as he closed them. She did not think he was asleep. Venutios sat with his hands looped over one knee, watching her. The firelight danced across his face, exploring the new hollows that a year on the run had given him. He had taught her what it was to be warrior of Mona and had given the horn to her as she had given it to Gwydion. To all Welsh Gaelic speakers, capital G, WYDDHIEN. I can't Google it because I'm using my phone for filming, but Gwydion, I can't pronounce it, I'm sorry, I apologise. No one else living knew what it took to do that. Because she could ask it of him and expect a clear answer, she said, "What do you find between the rumours and the fact that you are changed far more than I had expected, that parts of you are broken and parts are greater than they were, very much greater? I see you clearly now, and there's a light that shines from within. As if a cloak has fallen that was a necessary concealment to protect you from the brightness as much as us. I am thinking that it cannot be easy to live with what you have become, but I think also that you have found something to fight for that you did not know before. I have, yes. It was late. They should have slept, and neither could. They brought more heather on the fire and sat closer, and then lay down, head to head. And for the first time since it had happened, Briarka told of their ancestors' prophecy and the question it posed and the healing she had found in its answer. Later, when Ardokos's eyes had been shut for a very long time, and Venutios was, in any case, lying with his head so close to hers that the words passed from breath to breath between them, she showed him the ring that had been Cunobelin's gift, and tried to put into words how it was to hold the lineage of the Sun Hound and its promise, how he was with her and yet not part of her, as the ancestor dreamer had become, how it had changed her understanding of death, even though she had lived on the borderline between the worlds for all of her adult life. Venutios was wise and had been warrior, capital W warrior, and knew what it was to fight for something greater than life and blood. He listened until she had run out of words, and at the end he asked a single question and did not press when she was unable to answer. Later, when he had taken himself to another fire to sleep, she settled down in the lee of a boulder with her head on her saddle pad and stone hard at her side for warmth, and lay staring at the stars, asking herself the same thing. She fell asleep without finding an answer. She woke at dawn and was no wiser. The fire was a mound of red ash, only warm if she put her hands close enough to burn the skin. She fed it the thinnest of heather roots and dead leaves, and nursed the flames until they leapt to bite her fingers and was safe to leave. Bit better. Looks slightly less dead with lipstick, but you know, it's all just razzle dazzle and delusion, people of earth. Razzle, razzle, dazzle, frazzle, shazzle. Laissez-faire, je ne sais quoi, tout à l'heure. I'm not channeling, those are my own little French witticisms thrown in just for the frolicking of it, people of earth. At her back the sun made its own fire. It was larger here than in the south, hanging just off the lip of the crag, so that it seemed she could step off the rock into its heart. She stood on the cold stone and watched the gods stoke their own furnace, and asked them Venusios's question. Red fire became gold, became white gold, and there was no answer. Around, laced frost melted from the rock. A long, lean pine tree became suddenly bare of crows. The sky became raucously black. A shadow slid to her side and past it, and Ardokos said softly, "So which would you choose to save, your land or your lineage?" "I don't know." It had been a vain hope that he might not have been listening. She sat on the crag's edge and hugged her feet and looked over. Below, small shadows of men crossed the land as Venusios's hunters worked a deer trail. Ardokos came to sit on a boulder. He was naked and smelled of bear fat, and his hair was wild as it was when he had been hunting. She said, "What did you kill?" "Nothing. I went to meet the bear, not to hunt." "Did you find her?" "No, we're too far south and the legions have hunted too hard." Ardokos pressed the heels of his hands to his eyes. He was haggard and tired. Like Venusios, he had aged since the winter, and Briaka had not taken time to see it. It was easier to remember him younger, more vital, dancing with a she-bear and her cubs on Mona, than to remember the man who was flogged by Rome and then made himself well enough to fight again less than a month later. It was easier to remember either of these than the warrior who had nurtured her son for 16 years and brought him body and soul to the she-bear, because only by that could he grow from the shadow of the Boadicea to be all that he needed to be. Because both Ardokos and the question needed more of an answer, Briaka said, "It's not a choice to make now on a bare rock with nothing to give it shape." "No, but you are hoping you may never have to make it at all." Ardokos rose to leave. "You are stronger than that, if I am not." I feel so tired now. Comes and goes in waves. I put garlic for the first time in my baba ganoush. Quite a bit of garlic, and I have not eaten garlic for about 3 or 4 years because, as well as being lactose intolerant, I'm actually allergic to garlic and onions now. But I thought, I need garlic. I need it. My body needs it. It'll flush it out later, which is why I've got the wave of fatigue slamming me, because, you know, the gut is reacting with inflammation probably. It'll get flushed out, but even if only a tiny bit gets extricated, it's natural antibiotic, people of Earth. So it explains why I'm suddenly slammed with a wave of exhaustion, but then I often get slammed with waves of exhaustion while I'm reading to you, people of Earth, and I don't usually comment on it, I just fight through it. Venutios was waiting for them by the fire. He was dressed more formally with a good wool cloak dyed black for briga, and a brooch pin at his shoulder in the shape of the Brigantian horse. A youth stood nearby holding his horse for him. It was Roman bred, with a brand on the left shoulder. He said, "I must leave, but I have a gift for you in parting." Your question was its own gift. I know, but that is for later. For now, there are things more pressing. My scouts have been following Paulinus and his legions as they pass down through the lands neighbouring ours. Tutto bellissimo. Si, signor. What can I say? He's here again. This night they camped on the borders of the Kornovi and the Koratani. They are being followed, a day behind, by a small party from Mona. A red-haired girl child and a woman dreamer of the Durotriges, with 4 other men, one of them a hawk scout of the Koratani. Your trackers are good, the best, he smiled diffidently. Excepting only Ardokos, who was exceptional and found us before we found him. What do you know of the elder Kornovi and their worship of the horned god? Very little. The Kornovan dreamers who came to Mona said that they no longer worshipped in the old ways. There were rumours that some of their elders still followed the ancestors' path, but they gave living men to be the horned one and to run with the hunter in the stars to bring good fortune for the year after. We have the same rumours. We believe them to be true. Signals were passed among the Brigantes of increasing urgency. Venutios's horse was brought forward. He accepted a hand into the saddle and sent the youth who had held it away. Leaning down, he said, "Rome has killed all of their younger dreamers who trained on Mona." The bastards. The elders who have always followed the old ways are in the ascent, and they are as desperate as anyone to be rid of the legions. They will do whatever they believe necessary to achieve that. Tonight is the first horned moon since the summer solstice. If they are going to sacrifice anyone, it will be now. Riaka took a step back from his horse. Pity showed clear on his face. He had never seen that from him, nor expected it. He said, "I had not thought that the threat to your family would come from the tribes. I'm sorry." "Thank you." The urge to turn and walk away left her rigid. She made herself stand and think. Someone just yelled out, "Mulaney!" suggesting I go to Mulaney. Not in the pissing rain, I won't be going to Mulaney, although it hasn't rained yet. It's still hovering. It's odd, isn't it? Someone I know must be in Mulaney today, though, that it got yelled out like so emphatically. But they won't take Granny. She's a child and a woman. She can't be the god. Not her, no. And some of her party will be safe. They won't touch the blind dreamer or the woman dreamer of the Durotriges, although they may wish her to stand as Briga for them. At least for the night, they will see her presence as a gift of the mother. They will never risk the wrath of Mona, so the Soon elder is safe. But there are two others in the party, and either one might suit them. My scouts have not been close enough to find their identities, or how the Kornovi might choose between them. Dubornos and Hawk. She stared past him to his warriors and their impatience to be gone. She said, "Dubornos, you know. He came to Mona in the year after me. He was taken captive with Caradoc and came back with Kunamar. The other is a young warrior of the Koratani. He..." A half-thought shifted and took shape. "Hawk. They'll take Hawk. The Kornovi have been at war with the Koratani as long as we have. They have not yet learned that the tribes must fight together to defeat Rome." The followers of the Horned One think themselves uniquely placed to defeat Rome without help. Venutios moved his horse back so that they could see past him down the track. The two of his runners were waiting near where it led down from the crag. He said, "Nothing will happen before moonrise. If you will follow my pathmakers, you can reach them by then. It would be good if you had Ermid with you. They hold Namain as the daughter of their god, and would listen to one so closely wedded to her. But there is not time for that. You are the Boadicea given to Briga. They will listen to you. It may be that they will also take heed of what you say. Thus concludes chapter 33, today's offerings. I'm exhausted. I'm going to go and lie down for a little bit. So, may or may not be because of the garlic. I shall find out in a few hours. That's what's making me feel heavy. Also the rains, there's a shift outside. I think it will rain in the next few hours. I want to clean the birdie cages, but I'll have to have a rest first. And on we go and on we go, living day by day in psychedelic dreamers' world, Titania's realm, sacred space, people of Earth. So blessed be, have a beautiful day wherever you are in the space-time continuum, swirling in this beautiful, magical, co-created, awesome, blue marbling planet on the edges of the Milky Way galaxy, far, far away from the source field, and yet so close, so very, very close. From the Ein Sof Or down to Malkut and back up again. Everything and everyone is connected by soul and by intention, by corazon, heart, love, amor. So on that note, bye for now. Have a beautiful day, people of Earth. Take good care, be of good cheer, and remember, as always, to never ever let the bastards grind us down. Mama T has spoken.